Hello students, now in this lecture we see what is monotone sequence. So first we see definition of increasing sequence. So increasing sequence is the sequence Sn n is equal to 1 to infinity. It is said to be increasing sequence or non-decreasing sequence if S1 is less than or equal to S2, S2 is less than or equal to S3, S3 is less than or equal to S4, and so on. In general, Sn is less than or equal to the next term Sn plus 1, and so on. That means Sn is less than or equal to Sn plus 1 for all n. So the increasing sequence means nothing but the sequence in which terms goes on increasing. First term is less than second term, or second term is greater than first term, third term is greater than or equal to second term. The terms either they are equal or each next term is greater than the previous term. So we can write as Sn is less than or equal to Sn plus 1, means this is previous term, nth term, and it is less than or equal to next term, that is n plus 1th term. And this is for all n, that means all the terms goes on increasing. So this is increasing sequence. Now similarly decreasing sequence. So the sequence Sn n is equal to 1 to infinity is said to be decreasing sequence if S1 is less than greater than or equal to S2, S2 is greater than or equal to S3, and so on. In general, nth term Sn is greater than or equal to next n plus 1th term. That means decreasing sequence, in this sequence terms goes on decreasing. Next term is greater than the previous term. So generally we write Sn is greater than or equal to Sn plus 1, or Sn plus 1 is less than or equal to Sn. So terms goes on decreasing is called as, that sequence is called as decreasing sequence. Now what is monotone sequence? So a sequence is called monotone if it is either increasing or decreasing. That means it is increasing sequence or it is a decreasing sequence or both, then that sequence is called as monotone sequence. We see some examples of monotone sequence. The sequence n square, that means the terms in this sequence are 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, dash dash. Now this sequence is increasing. We can see here terms are going increasing. The increasing sequence is also called as non-decreasing sequence. So this is a non-decreasing sequence or increasing sequence, and this is bounded below. That means this sequence has lower bound. You can see the first term is the lower bound of this sequence. Other terms are going on increasing. Therefore, the lower bound of this sequence is first term 1 square, that is 1. And therefore, this sequence has no upper bound. Therefore, it is not bounded above. it is bounded below only. 1 is its lower bound. The next example, sequence minus 1 raised to n. That means the terms in this sequence are, first term n is equal to 1, therefore minus 1. Second term n is equal to 2, minus 1 square, that is plus 1. Third term n is equal to 3, minus 1 raised to 3, therefore minus 1. So alternating terms are minus 1 and plus 1. So this sequence is not monotone sequence because it is neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore this is not monotone sequence, but it is a bounded sequence, since its lower limit is minus 1 and its upper limit is plus 1. Therefore it has both the bounds, lower bound and upper bound. Therefore it is bounded above and bounded below. Therefore it is bounded sequence, but it is not increasing or decreasing. Therefore it is not monotone. The sequence 1, 1 upon 2, 1 upon 3, 1 upon 4, that means in generally we can write sequence nth term of this sequence is 1 upon n. Now this sequence is going on decreasing. The terms of this sequence are going on decreasing. Therefore this is a decreasing sequence or non-increasing sequence. But this is a bounded sequence because the first term is the greatest term. It is upper bound of this sequence, that is 1, and we know that this is a decreasing sequence, and finally the limit of 1 upon n as n tends to infinity is nothing but 0. This is a decreasing sequence. Finally it goes to 0, and therefore its lower bound is 0, upper bound is 1. Both the bounds are here. Therefore the sequence is bounded and it is decreasing sequence. Now there are two remarks. That means the things we have to remember, that is, first is every non-decreasing sequence is bounded below. Every non-decreasing sequence, that means increasing sequence, is bounded below. We know that sequence is increasing, therefore the first term of that sequence is its lower bound. Similarly, every non-decreasing sequence, every non-increasing sequence is bounded above. We know that sequence non-increasing means it is decreasing sequence. Every non-increasing sequence means decreasing sequence is bounded above. The first term of that decreasing sequence is nothing but its upper bound, and therefore sequence is bounded above. So these things you have to remember. So we stop here. Thank you.